Not much. All right. Hi Nolan. Didn't see you there. No, I'm lifting quick. So I wasn't looking at the phone as much. Plus I'm blind anyway. So this is entirely a session not in the schedule. I just felt like training today. I had a extreme desire to train and not just lift light, so we're just training. I mean, it's a normal heavy session, I suppose. All right. This 150, do a couple front squats, and then be out. Also trying to do, well, I'm not really trying. I just didn't feel like listening to music today. Do a El Natural. Sometimes it's nice, especially at the house, where it's just the sounds of nature and with people. Although that doesn't usually start till after dark. Alright. 150. Ugh. I'm also being more intentional when I get set up on the bar, so I don't sit there for too long thinking about the lift. I adjust my hands 6 times. So I start with my right, left, right, left. And that's just me wiggling my hands. Nothing really technically important. Then my hands are, locked in or whatever, and I count to 4. I don't know why this number system works, but I count to 4, and then I have a final count to 3. When I get to that like last 3 count, that's like, all right, hyperventilate and go. It's like the freak out number. 4 is like the last chance to think about it, and then 3 is like you got to go on 3. And if I can do that, like I lift better. It's just hard to do when you're nervous about a lift. And I still will like lift well even if I don't adhere to that, but it saves me honestly a lot of time. It kind of adds up. Yeah, Will Rattel will be a really good guy for you to get into and look at, because he does a lot of sport specific training, and like he does the Olympic lifts, but he incorporates other athletic movements in it, which is, especially since you play baseball, is going to be the best to have a combination. Like I wouldn't just look at my training and be like, this is what I want to do for sports, because like I just train for this, and in theory, I could benefit from doing athletic movements. I just am too lazy to. B, I don't really have the time or recoverability to do those and train as frequent as I do. And C, kind of related to A, but like just kind of hard to do, which isn't a good reason not to do it. But like I'd have to go to a field and sprint. Like I'd have to, it'd be a lot of effort to go and like find a spot to do that, and it's just not really. Like I care in a sense how athletic I am, but not really like how fast I can run or how high I can jump. And maybe I should, but I haven't for a while. And I think it's very possible in the sport of Olympic weightlifting you cannot do that stuff a lot and get stronger. But obviously, if you want to be, prepared, as Will Rattel will try to get you for like a sport, not just be strong, but to have some coordination to like athletic movement, especially because like you still have to run, so like it's important that you work on sprinting and stuff. And honestly, it'll probably help you learn the movements a little bit better when you know how to like use your body in a variety of ways. So you also have to remember that while I'm not athletic or as strong as Will Rattel, like I did play sports for a number of years, so I did do a lot of running and jumping and sprinting. So it's not as if I don't have any athletic background that I draw upon to get benefits from my training, but it's just not like I actively try to jump higher or anything, or sprint or anything like that. But there's many years where I did. I definitely think now if I were to do some of that, it would temporarily take away from the main lifts that I do because of the recoverability of it. And it also might not be as beneficial to weigh 240 to do all the plyos and stuff. Uh-oh. Yeah, Nolan, I don't know if I told you, but Eric down there, he's on steroids. He snapped 100 kilograms. He never told me that. Everyone that went to the University of Akron has taken steroids. But what was your best what was your best power snatch prior to the 185? Non-procrastinating front squats. I technically don't have to do anything today. Today is just like, I was just so motivated to train that I'm just doing, it just be lifting the weights. 175. Alright, so like a 5 kilogram PR. Not bad. Although, if you're doing it at the house, I guess it's a 10 pound. Oh, like you're the guy who's coaching you, Rocks. That's good. Yeah, I think like one way that you can assess an effective coach is how much you enjoy training. Because people talk about, it's like, oh, you have to put up with the suck or you have to do these high reps, and a lot of that is true. But there also needs to be like fun, exciting sessions where you can push a lift, or you could push a variation, or you could just do something that maybe you're good at. Like, for instance, for me, if I had a weightlifting coach, like they would probably, if they were smart, add occasional like heavy deadlifts in or like heavy pulls because I'm really good at them and I enjoy them, and it keeps me engaged in the whole program. Um, just like maybe like a heavy behind snatch grip push press. It's like there's things that you can do that if you're just planning for yourself, you might not necessarily think like, oh, this is 100% what I need to do. Or if you're like a professional coach or whatever, you might think that is the most 100% beneficial thing. But there is that cognitive enjoyment that is important. And obviously, a power snatch is not like a bad lift at all. Um, but it's an important thing because like let's say like for you Eric, let's say that maybe power snatch, like let's just use a power snatch as an example. Like maybe you hate powers, like they're really mentally difficult, you don't like doing them, and usually it's like a grind, mental grind to get through them. Well, if you have to do them 3 or 4 times a week, then you're just going to be like mentally wore out from having to do them. um, I'm trying to think of the equivalent lift that honestly, like powers for me would be kind of like that. If a coach gave me like a hip snatch or a hip clean, I just wouldn't do it. Like I just don't believe that anyone should do that lift, and I think it's people who are good at it are good at oscillating the bar on their um, in their hip joint. But like there's certain lifts like that that's like I hate, or I would say actually hang lifts. If a coach like you're gonna do hang snatches 3 times a week, like I would just be depressed. It would just not be fun. And like obviously you get better at them and maybe you enjoy them more, but like the grind of like getting good at them or doing them all the time would just be like disaster. Or hang power snatches, that would be one that would be like just so mentally grinding to do, just to like set up and do, when you could substitute for something like a block snatch or any sort of variation of the snatch. um, yeah, well, and that's the balancing too, because it's like if it's like, wow, this is, hang snatches, use the hang snatch as an example. It's like, if I really hate them and it's like just a grind to do them, like a smart coach is probably not going to put them 4 times a week for me to do, or make me do them, maybe more than once or maybe even twice, in a session if it's like that's what you really need to do. And it's a balancing act. Because like I might be like, I want to do a heavy deadlift, and they're like, well, no, you're not doing heavy deadlift. Like part of me, I'm an a-hole, so I might just want to do a deadlift anyway. Um, that's one reason I probably wouldn't be a very good person to coach, um, because I can talk about training and programming and stuff like that. But like today, I wasn't supposed to train at all. It was supposed to be like nothing, muscle snatches maybe, SOTS press maybe. But like I snatched 120 and clean jerk 150 because I was just really excited to train. And I could have a coach that I'm paying, and I would still do a session like this because it's just like I don't know. I couldn't even like argue for my case that it's beneficial, but I just really wanted to train, so I'm going to train. And um, I think there is some sort of justification, at least one could make in a backward sense, that like if you have like really high energy for a day, or you're feeling really motivated, like there is a benefit to doing a session on that day. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was really interesting because like yesterday, I got up to 120 in the snatch, and I jumped from 120 to 150 in the clean jerk and missed the first 2 attempts at 150, then made it. Um, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's hard to think that you're good. Um, Slam bars is back. Of course. I mean, is there any other way to take chocolate other than to dry scoop it? I actually had to use a ton of it. It's when it's super hot like this, it's actually insane how much. And you can see how little's on my hands now. And I had it chalked. I mean, to the gills, to the gilly gills, and there's none on the back of my hand or in the hook of my hand. Um, Absolutely bonkers how like it just disappears instantly. Um, but yeah, yesterday I was frustrated with I missed 120 and then I made it, and it was kind of difficult. And I use thumb tape, which when it's super hot like this, I just need to never use thumb tape because on snatches it slips no matter what I do, how dry I get my hands prior. So I just have to just not do that. But we're gonna do a couple front squats. My friend just texted me, so I told him I wasn't gonna lift today so we could play video games earlier. And now the survey says that was a lie. But we're gonna do a couple of singles. We do 70, 120, and maybe we jump up to 170 and see what happens. But we'll do 70 first. If it feels really bad, I'm just gonna stop though. And that was the other assessment thing. It's like when I was warming up with like if something hurt, I was just gonna stop. But like everything felt good physically, which is a good indicator too. Like if your knee or shoulder, if something really hurts on a day that you're not really supposed to train, and it's like it's not worth it. But like if physically everything feels really good, then you can kind of gaslight yourself into going off. Even my own program. I don't even follow my own program. That's how bad of a coach I am, or an athlete I am. I did 3 sets of 10 in the front squat yesterday, so it's not like my legs are fresh. That's just how much of like a workhorse I am in that sense. Chalk for me, it does not matter. I could bathe in it. I sweat like it just doesn't stay on my hands because I sweat so much. My hands, and that's always been kind of how my hands are. It's not even. I mean, it's obviously worse with the temperature, but it's not like, oh, it's cold out, I don't need to bathe in chalk. It is. Hands are always super sweaty. Even when I use straps, I get it chalked up a lot. I think also like it's also mentally like if I have enough chalk on my hand, then I don't feel like Ilya, but I know that I don't have an excuse. Plus Ilya used a lot of chalk, so I gotta. There's no method. Alright. I don't need to get ADHD to and start talking too much. But that is another thing with a session that's like extra, it should go quicker. You shouldn't spend 3 hours in a day you're not supposed to train. It should be something that you can get done faster. Ooh, that's 180. Not that big a deal. Alright. So there's a good chance, there is a chance, I should say, that this doesn't move at all. But I'm not going to fight it too hard. But 120 felt fine, so I'm pretty confident in it, but there's a chance that my legs just go off today, senor. Your front squat. 120 or 170 is your front squat max. I don't know where you are at in the live stream. Okay. I would have been, not that I would have been surprised, but, yeah. That's why I was like, 170. I was like, that's pretty, like, you need to be cleaning more if you're doing that. But, I would have been a little concerned at your front squat. But sometimes people are like that with, like, their strength numbers. If your front squat max is 120, you definitely got to get that up. Basically, can power clean that. Not basically, but I mean, like, you get relatively. I'm sure you can clean it. You power 102 pretty easy. And if you don't clean it, then you need to start cleaning 120. You need to stop sandbagging. It's a good problem to have, though, because at least for me, I feel like it's easier to get stronger than to get better at weightlifting. And it's a lot more of a confidence game. Like, once you can do front squats at like 150, and then it's like, all right, I can clean 130, 140, and it's not like you're going to be stressed about it because the weight's just going to feel easy when you're doing it. I, for one, will have a weight feel easy and miss it 14 times. Because I'm a Neanderthal. And I have gorilla strength with none of the precision. It's slower in a sense. Well, actually, no. That would be an interesting thing to measure, but I think that's actually really dependent on the individual. So, like motor skill development versus musculature development, I think that's very dependent on the individual. Because I came into the sport with excess strength, so I was always ahead of where I needed to be from a strength aspect. But like, for me, it's easy just to go, oh, I have reps to do, I'm going to do the reps, versus I'm going to do them correctly. Not that, I don't know, I have a decent enough balance to get decent at the lifts, but if weightlifting was easy for me as just get your front squat more and you're clean more, then I would just front squat every day. I would just do front squats all the time. I kind of do now, but I need technique as well. Alright, we're going to take a crack at 190. I'm not too confident in this, but we're just going to do it. Yeah, I suppose that's like the balance of weightlifting too. I think most people who get decent at it, and I say decent, like if you can snatch like 80 kilos and clean and jerk 100, like you have a reasonable mobility and stuff, then it means you're probably athletic enough to learn stuff pretty easily. So then I guess the strength then would become the difficult part. But I came from the ooga booga sport of powerlifting, so it was just reps, get stronger. But for me, I was always kind of slow. So like as I built speed through the weightlifting movements, my speed helped me get stronger as well. So it kind of helped me in a reverse way, I suppose. I had a lot of slow strength. All right, 190. Let's see what happens. One 70 felt okay, but not great. Look, actually felt really good, and the position, I didn't lose it. The legs just weren't there, which I mean, in a lot of ways I expected that because I trained hard yesterday. I actually missed a 180 front squat yesterday, but no, like taking the weight out felt a little heavy, but like going down, I can usually tell bouncing it, like that stretch reflex, to where like I know I have a chance, or if like I get pitched forward out of the bottom, I know like I'm cooked on that lift. But there, like I felt strong coming out a little bit. It just didn't have enough strength to get through that sticking point. That's exciting though. I mean, to go 70, 120, 170, and then, at least in my opinion, it felt like a good attempt at 190. It didn't feel like if I was fresher that I wouldn't have moved. I'm definitely happy about that. So we'll take that and run. Take that and run. I'm not obviously trying that again or anything like that, but I think if I had like 185, that would have moved really well. So, but I want to get used to. One of the reasons I tried out 190 is I want to get used to that jump, that 170 to 190. So then, at some point, I can jump to 200. If obviously I make 190, but then make it relatively easily, and then I have less attempts building up to that. Could also go like 150, 170, but like that 170 and 190 is a relatively important jump if I want to make that 10 kilo one up to 190. There was a bunch of cops rolling down the street like an hour or so ago. I thought I just heard another like cop siren thing, but hood rats up to no good. But who knows? Well, Sam, Bars, and Eric, thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna head off. Enjoy your Friday. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Deuces.